Welcome to the Movie Recaps King. Shrooms is a horror film that we'll be watching today. When a group of American teenagers arrive in Ireland, they meet a local resident and friend named Jake. They intend to go camping in search of psychedelic mushrooms. Jake shows them the magical mushroom they intend to find in the forest and promises them a once-in-a-lifetime adventure. They arrive at a desolate-looking forest park and proceed further in. Tara, the van's driver, collides with something and blood splashes across the windscreen. They exit the vehicle to investigate and discover that the vehicle was hit by an animal. Two strangers with large axes appear while they are deliberating their next move. When the teenagers realize that the dead animal is supposed to be their dinner, they drag it towards them. When the strangers take the animal away, they appear creepy and make strange noises. Jake explains that they are the forest's indigenous people. They pull into a clearing beside a lake, and Jake instructs everyone to turn in their phones, explaining that they do not want to be texting their parents or calling the police while hallucinating. After establishing their camp, they venture deep into the forest in search of magical mushrooms. They come across a rare mushroom known as the death bell while mushroom collecting. Jake explains that consuming it is extremely dangerous. The death bell is thought to be a portal to another dimension, and when consumed, it grants the user the ability to shapeshift, communicate with the dead, and even predict the future. Tara trips and falls near some death bell mushrooms while exploring the forest. She had not previously heard Jake's explanation, so she picks one up and eats it. Soon after, she has a massive seizure, followed by dreamlike trances. Jake locates her and transports her back to the campsite. Lisa then puts her to sleep, and everyone gathers around a fire to tell ghost stories. Jake tells them about an abandoned children's home nearby owned by a religious order. A violent, sadistic monk once lived in this house, torturing and killing the children. He once burned a young boy's face and forced him to wear a sack over his head to conceal the burns. The monk then murdered this boy's twin brother and made him watch. Later, the lonely twin sought vengeance on the monk by poisoning him with death bell mushrooms. But the monk survived, and his hallucinations led to the slaughter of 78 people. The plan is for everyone to share the mushrooms in the morning, but Troy and Holly sneak some and have sex that night. While they're at it, they notice a silhouette outside the tent, and assuming it's Pluto, Troy confronts him. Pluto and Lisa, on the other hand, claim to have been sleeping the entire time. Tara begins to have premonitions after everyone has returned home. Meanwhile, Pluto drinks some mushroom tea and goes on a trip. He goes into the woods and comes across a talking cow. He later discovers a deserted car. Suddenly, a hooded figure appears and killing him by chopping off his organ. Tara is shown waking up in shock, indicating that she had a premonition of Pluto's death. Tara searches the forest for Pluto and discovers him conversing with a cow. She safely returns him to the tent and places him to sleep. Pluto is missing the next morning. Tara and Lisa search the forest for him. The others drink the mushroom tea, unconcerned about Pluto's disappearance, but Tara tells them she had a bad dream about Pluto and insists on finding him. Soon after drinking the tea, they all return to the forest, calling out Pluto. Tara sees the hooded figure from her vision again and begins running, followed by Holly and Lisa. They come to a halt, and Tara informs the girls that she sees things before they happen. Holly sobs as she consumes the mushrooms. Holly and Lisa later get into an argument about Pluto and fall into a pit. Then Lisa unintentionally discovers Pluto's bloody corpse. Holly keeps saying, "It's just a trip," and she's right. Tara, on the other hand, points out that they can't all be on the same trip. Tara continues to trip and sees the black hooded figure again. Following that, the girls become separated while fleeing the hooded man Tara claims to be seeing in another part of the forest. Jake and Troy are also hallucinating and having terrifying visions. Holly arrives at a cabin in the woods and is welcomed in by two strange men named Ernie and Bernie, whom we met earlier in the film. When she requests to use a phone, the two men point her to a broken phone. They then tell her that they were once locked up with pigs at a children's home. Holly, terrified, tells them about the hooded figure. The two men recognize him as the Black Brother, the sadistic monk from the orphanage. Tara begins to have another premonition. This time, she notices Holly fleeing from something. Tara reunites with Lisa and warns her that something sinister is going on in the forest. Tara is found on the bank of a river by Jake and Troy, who tell her to meet them in the abandoned children's home to summon help. Tara has another seizure, and this time she sees Holly. When she comes to, she informs Lisa that Holly has died and asks her to look in the water. Lisa pulls out a rope, and Holly's body emerges from the water. Lisa, terrified, abandons Tara and flees. To get to the other side, she walks through a swamp. The sadistic monk emerges from beneath the water behind her. Tara awakens from another crazy visions to discover that Lisa has also died. She discovers an axon and walks into the swamp with it while experiencing more hallucinations. She then discovers an abandoned children's home. She searches the creepy corridors of the house for Jake and Troy. The boys are unsure whether they are hallucinating or hearing Tara call out their names. Runs away from the monk every time he sees him. Troy is eventually killed, and Jake escapes by jumping from a high window and breaking his leg as he lands. Tara discovers him, and she helps him to get away. Tara comes to a halt when she notices the monk following them again. She has another vision of the monk appearing from above a tree and killing Jake as she walks around with her axe. Jake is on the ground when she turns around. Jake tells Tara, "I love you, Tara," just before he dies. She cries out, and then she sees the monk again. She runs away from him, collides with something, and the screen goes black. As a helicopter hovers over the camp, Tara awakens. Tara is taken into an ambulance as the sole survivor after the police investigate the area. While the paramedic is tending to her, his phone rings, and Tara has a brief flashback. She quickly realizes that the Deathbell mushroom is to blame for her murder of all of her friends. She asks the paramedic for assistance, and everything goes quiet until we see her bloody hands holding a pair of bloody scissors, implying that she has also killed the paramedic. We see she is running as fast as she can through the forest. This is the end of the story. I don't want to eat mushrooms after hearing this story. Do you still have an appetite for mushrooms, or did this story also affect you? Thank you for watching until the end, and if you want to help this channel, you can by subscribing to it and liking this video. Thank you.